report today, earlier today, sad news coming out of Florida as AEW wrestling star Jeff Hardy has been arrested on the charge of a DUI. We'll have all the information on this. Plus, Trish Stratus is calling out one of the biggest names in professional wrestling. Troy Donovan has been released by WWE NXT. We have a new champion in New Japan. New stars being recruited by WWE. Lots of news to get to on a Monday. Share the link or you stink. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Watch out!
Watch out!
Yes, what's up, everybody? If you're with us for the first time, don't make it the last time. Subscribe to Sports Kid Wrestling on YouTube, on the podcast, audio platforms all around the world, Facebook, all that good stuff. Turn it on. I'm Kev Kellum. I'm with Jeremy Bennett in Nebraska, if he asks you. But apparently we have Buchito is with us. He's wearing his butcher hat.
Don't get me all riled up, bro. I'm Buchito. Buchito will F you up.
Night! Yes, it's Buchito who's with us.
De peleas.
We'll get into it. So we have some unfortunate news to cover here today. You've seen it across the internet today, and more details coming out about it since the news has come out. Late last night, Jeff Hardy was arrested in Volusia. Am I saying this correctly? Volusia?
Early this morning.
Early today. Late last
County.
night. Yeah. Earlier this morning, Volusia County in Florida, on the charge of a DUI while driving a vehicle. This is his third DUI arrest in 10 years. It's pretty serious. What's the information that we have here, gentlemen?
So he was booked at 12:45 a.m. this morning in Volusia County, Florida. According to the report, driving with a suspended or revoked license and driving under the influence. His third offense within 10 years. Fightful obtained an arrest report where Hardy had blown a .294. That is nearly 3 times the legal limit. Legal limit is .08. 4 times the legal limit would be a .32. .29 is what the kids would say is getting after it. It indicates that Hardy was driving under the speed limit, weaving across lanes. Officer tried to pull Jeff over, who struggled to pull over. Officer claimed that he went to the passenger side and Jeff was barely responsive. Officer claimed that he went to the driver's side and Hardy struggled to get the car in park, which led it to roll forward. He has a hearing set for tomorrow. Tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern is when that is set for. And of course, he was scheduled to be in a tag team title match with his brother Matt on Wednesday, which I believe now they are no longer advertising. Is that correct?
Yes. AEW did in their most recent posts on social media and Twitter are not advertising this match at the time. Obviously, we don't know whether or not that match will be augmented in some way to not have the Hardys presented, but that was Big Angle was cut last week, and that would have been what they did on TV this week. Doesn't appear like that's going to happen, especially if Jeff is still in legal custody right now.
Man, this is a real unfortunate situation. I mean, we're talking about Jeff Hardy not even just a little bit over 6 months ago about the same situation back in WWE, where he left the show and then, everybody started assuming that, he was back on, drugs or being, drinking again. And now he's in this situation. It's tough because people will always jump to the conclusion, oh, he needs to be fired, or, oh, he needs to be, he just needs to go to jail and go to rehab. Dude, this guy has gone to rehab countless times. This guy has been given chances countless times. I wouldn't be surprised if TK would just take him off TV, put him in rehab, pay for the rehab and get him well. It's a real unfortunate situation. We don't know what demons he's dealing with, what made him go that route. But all we can do as fans is just really send him our love and just hope he gets well and hope he gets better soon. And just put all this really bad stuff behind him, because it's not good for him. It's not good for his family, and it's not good for his legacy. Who wants to be remembered as the guy that retires drinking and having just constant DUIs? That's what you want to be known for.
Look at Sonny. Look at Sonny and look what she did.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
I'd assume Jeff is out because total bond was only $3,500. So
yeah, whether or not he's still in legal custody is unclear.
yeah, I think he's probably bonded out by now.
I'm sure. I mean, it was like a little bit over, or it was $2,500, about $3,500 total bail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's worth noting, people saying he needs to stop drinking and all these different things. I think some of that's kind of obvious, and that there's a serious problem here, and the track record is there. It's very, very public. This is just the third DUI arrest. This isn't the first time, this has happened in some way or another.
Most states 3 and 10 years is a felony. So
yeah. So now you're facing a felony charge here. You also had, drug charges on him pending when he went to TNA the first time. He had drug charges while he was there, for different things that, reportedly possibly influenced a fire near his home. So there's a lot of destructive, very unhealthy behavior here. And I would feel very uncomfortable if this is just not treated in a very, very serious way. This isn't someone in their 20s. This isn't the first time. This isn't the second time. This is just the third time just with the DUI. This isn't involving anything else. This isn't like what happened when he was advertised for a pay-per-view and it was dangerous to even put him in the ring, right? And that was people paying for a pay-per-view too. So just as the business of it sets a bad precedent. And it's odd that that All Elite Wrestling hasn't said anything yet, that they haven't addressed this yet.
Yeah, I mean, they put out a tweet at about 3:38 Central, just hyping up what is going on for Road Rager on Wednesday, and of course, left out of that was the ladder match. So that has been what AEW has put out there today. But yeah, since then, obviously, nobody else from the company has at least publicly commented on the situation at this point.
Man, I don't know. I don't even know what's going through the minds of the executives over at AEW, because he's already been known to have this situation with TNA, now recently with WWE, now here at AEW. At some point, you gotta ask yourself if Jeff Hardy is just toxic for the wrestling business per se because of what he does outside of the ring.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard
and
to
also
tell.
you had a guy who's dealing with a lot of injuries. The injuries are piling up like crazy with him. He got a concussion. Probably not the first one he's had. Had a leg injury a few years ago that was pretty serious. On top of breaking his leg years before that, countless other injuries that are probably there that he's had surgery on or hasn't had surgery on or just waiting to deal with. And that contributes to it. That contributes to all this different type of, they call it self-medication, whatever you want to go with. But it's very unhealthy and it's very unclear.
Interesting comment.
Saying, isn't that what Vince, there you go with that Vince thing. I was crazy. Isn't that what, let's say WWE wanted to do to pay for and send him to rehab, but he didn't want to go, and maybe WWE did know something that was going on, or just because the test came back negative, everybody shit on the company, but looks like they were right and saw something. Jeff has to get better. Nobody can
at that time.
That's such a different situation.
That had nothing to. He got knocked loopy in that match. That had nothing to do with alcohol or drugs. There, that was a completely
that we know of. You know what I mean? He tested clear. But there's stuff he could have been on that they aren't testing for too. There's another thing to note about that too. Like I'm not that doesn't absolve
you can't assume.
No, I'm not assuming it either. Yeah. But I mean, like,
exactly,
there's a track record here, and I take no pleasure in that. I take no pleasure in that. That isn't like, ooh, holier than thou or anything like that. This is really, really serious. This is a human being. This is somebody's brother. This is somebody's father. This is somebody's husband, and it's very, very sad. And the only positive I think you can take from this is didn't hurt himself, didn't hurt anyone else. That's it.
Well, here's the thing too here, like with this comment with Todd Laney saying Jeff Hardy has 3 DUI charges against him and rehab isn't working for him, AEW needs to release him. I disagree with that. I disagree that, because he had this third mistake, and we know that this is a recurring mistake. The last thing that Jeff Hardy would need right now is for him to be released by a company because of what he did, because that can actually send him even deeper into that hole that he's in right now. So that's the last thing that AEW needs to do. He is a human just like us, just like Devin Anderson is saying. And the best thing we can all do as a collective, as fans, like I mentioned a few minutes earlier, is send them our love, send them our thoughts, send them our prayers.
Yeah, I mean the USO, like I don't know, I can't remember if it was Jimmy or Jay that got in trouble. They featured them on TV the 2 days later. So obviously Jeff's situation may be a little more extreme, just because, geez, 0.29 is insane. That is very high. So I can't remember what Jimmy. I don't think Jimmy's was that high. I thought it was in the ones, but I mean, still not good. But
I mean, it was 3 times his blood alcohol level, and in Florida is a 0.08 alcohol level.
Yeah,
if you're in the ones on the BAC, you have a very low level of what would be called legally drunk. You're just minimally above it. Like, so you can go for a 0.8 to a 1 fairly easily. Like, and it depends on when you're driving, and
2
stuff
drinks.
like that too.
That's all you need. 2 drinks.
Yeah, 2 drinks.
1 in some cases.
2 drinks, So, and also, like, I'm not saying that's not the same situation. It is, but let's not, dice this up. This is Jeff Hardy. If you've been following the business for a long time, this is an unfortunate story that has repeated itself. And I'm not saying AEW should let him go. I just don't know if pro wrestling is something that's healthy for him right now. If this is something where he has to be on the road, he has to do it, and all these different things. And, so we'll see. And maybe that doesn't mean he has to be on the road to have a role with AEW and stuff like that too.
Guys, before we switch gears here, we got 184 live viewers watching us right now. So go ahead and smash that like button, guys. If you're enjoying the content, even though it's some unfortunate news, we got plenty of more stories that we're going to cover today. We've already reached 30,300 on YouTube. So thank you so much for helping us get there, helping us get our numbers all the way up there. The more you guys engage with the show by liking and sharing, the more people get to watch this. So tag your friends in the comment section right now and share it in your favorite wrestling group. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, we can get to other news that isn't nearly as sad as this. So let's get into. This already is a bummer story too. 2 dimes.
It is a bummer story.
2 dimes. Troy Donovan, recently released by WWE. He was on the lower level in WWE NXT and was a fairly new introduction to the company, and was playing in the faction led by Tony D'Angelo. They recently won a match at the recent In Your House event on Peacock, and they were successful in the event, but he was released in what is reportedly called a policy change, a policy effect here. And this is a part of what people are assuming, reportedly, from sources within the company, related to WWE making cuts to preliminary talent, in the company on that low tier, every once in a while, going through the company and making these cuts. And he referenced this on Twitter on Monday, saying mistakes were made, bump in the road, I'll be back. It is worth noting it was said to him, hey, go do your thing. Maybe we can talk to you in a year or so. He's a young guy. I do think this is the new way WWE wants to treat NXT. If there is a revolving door with it with some people, I don't think that's an unhealthy thing. This isn't the worst thing to happen to him. He's a fairly young guy. Hopefully he can adjust, and get another shot at another big company. This guy's also wrestled for AEW on the dark level, but it's worth noting a lot of people that wrestle in AEW dark are not under contract with AEW too.
Well, this doesn't seem like to be one of those releases though. And his tweet later on kind of said he did something to get fired. So this is not one of those NXT cuts that we've been talking about. This was the details of a policy violation have yet to been revealed, but he did violate some policy. This is not your normal NXT cut like we thought it was at the beginning. Like, oh, here come the cuts, but no, he did something to get fired. And then he did tweet out, thanks to everyone who reached out. Mistakes happen and lessons learned. A bump in the road doesn't define me, though I'll be back. So it'll probably come out in due time, but he was fired for violating something. We just don't know what it is at this point.
Yeah, it was also known, Miley Warnick saying it, is Tony D injured. Tony D'Angelo, his former stablemate there. NXT getting back on the road with live events this past weekend. Tony D suffering some type of injury during a match with Cameron Grimes.
That means Santos takes over the family, baby.
Yeah, they're going to have to do some rewriting real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, you get an injury, you can still be on television. I mean, you're just not wrestling, so it's worth noting. We'll see what happens with that. We don't know how severe the injury is or whether or not some people.
Well, you got an injury and a guy that got fired. So,
so what's going to happen?
There's a lot you got to rework here.
There's a lot going on
in 24 hours.
A lot going on here. So moving along here, other stories we're following. Our very own Bill Apter recently got to speak with the legendary Trish Stratus, the WWE Hall of Famer, arguably one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time. And she had some very curious things to say, some things that will definitely provoke your interest If you haven't seen the interview, it is up now on our YouTube channel, but check this out. This is certainly compelling what she says here early on about a big name superstar in WWE right now.
Are you planning on another eventual comeback?
I mean, if someone's out of line, Becky Lynch, I might.
Oh,
What?
really?
What's that?
Yeah. That I could see that. Not only would that be one of the toughest matches of your life, that would also be huge.
It
No,
would really be nothing. Yeah, she's a little out of sorts right now. Got a lot on her mind, and I think I could take advantage of that. Don't tell her I said that, and maybe just slip in there and just beat her.
how do you keep in such fabulous shape?
I do
all the
yoga.
time? Yeah.
That's my main thing.
Yeah.
I still I have my weights and my base.
Speaking about yoga, it is amazing. By the way, if y'all haven't done it, y'all should try it. But
Well
yes,
done, pause
damn.
too. Well done, pause
Stop
too.
it,
By the way,
Jeremy.
Jose.
Jeremy, put your jaw off the floor, Jeremy.
Jose paused
go.
there on purpose. Come on.
I know he didn't. He did not pause there.
Come on. I'm just trying to represent for all the 16-year-olds in all of us right now.
Yes. So let's get to the core there of the story. Cobra bringing up Trish versus Becky. She casually just said she could beat Becky Lynch. Just cash, like it's
She's gonna slip
nothing.
on. No. She just said, I'm gonna slip on in and just beat her. I mean,
I like what
slip on
Bill was.
in
I
and
like
just
what
beat her.
Bill was questioning. She's like, "What? Huh? What?
Huh?
Huh? I wonder if I wonder if this might be the direction for SummerSlam."
You're
Now,
not the only one. People saying it in the chat too.
Yeah.
People saying it in the chat.
Obviously, I thought it was going to be a rematch with Bianca Belair. But now, with Rhea winning that, I just don't see Rhea losing at Money in the Bank. So, maybe Bianca goes for a rematch with Rhea if she loses at Money in the Bank, and that opens up Becky for Trish to slide in, as she just
That
said.
could be a main event. That could be a main event or a co-main event.
I mean, this is not a one-off thing. They've been doing some trash talking on Twitter back and forth for a while now. So this would not surprise me now if this comes down at SummerSlam now.
A lot of people just saying when we get this match. Obviously, everyone thinks this would be a massive match to put on pay-per-view. People saying SummerSlam. People saying WWE needs this match to sell tickets. All the matches sell tickets. They need this match to sell tickets.
Well, they didn't sell many. They didn't sell many tickets tonight, according to.
No, you are absolutely right, Jeremy. Because I'm saying I don't think they had some matches that sold tickets. Is this a match that sells tickets? But I think on something like a SummerSlam, you bring up people saying this is going to be on a big show. I think a SummerSlam sells tickets by itself and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Jeremy Davis saying DDP Yoga felt the bang. Yes, I've heard a lot of people are proponents of it. Joseph Austin saying would love to see Becky versus Trish. Becky's been killing it with her heel character. A Trish Stratus is proven. She can come out of retirement and have these banger matches. I thought she had a solid one when she had that singles match with Charlotte a few years ago. That was supposed to be the last one, by the way. And she's come back here and there to WWE over the past, 15, 12 years since he kind of left active in-ring competition. And every time she gets a real effort, she shows up, looks like she's having a ball. This is a Hall of Famer. It certainly could be a special feature match. Obviously, Trish doesn't need to win the match for it to be special either. I don't think who wins. If Becky lost, that'd be a bigger story, I think, more than anything. But it certainly would be an attraction to see Trish back in the ring in a special match.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The timing, and they've been doing a lot of social media stuff back and forth. Kind of makes you wonder if something's going to be cooking up here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is one of those generational type of things, an icon versus an icon. Becky Lynch is right now in that stratosphere of a persona that she wasn't, 3 years ago, because 3 years ago, she was the man. She was on the way up. She was getting to that stratosphere. She came back, won the SmackDown title, got the Raw title, kept that title for nearly a year, and just recently dropped it at WrestleMania. She had the best 3-year run. And just was she was absolutely skyrocketed to the moon. It went into a completely different mode. Now calling herself Big Time Bex. This is a match. This is an icon versus icon type of situation. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. The 2000s versus the 2020s. I think this is great.
Could be interesting. Could be interesting for sure. Let's get into it. We have several stories related to what's going on with AEW and New Japan. We are a few weeks removed from a major show, sold out at the United Center in Chicago, hopping a skip from where I am now. And that show is a dream card featuring stars from All Elite Wrestling taking on stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And there's been much debate about what matches will be made between the two promotions and how can you do this politically without one promotion looking really bad and one promotion looking particularly great. And how can you really juggle this with expectations through the roof in terms of what matches you actually are going to make? We do know one that is official as part of the interim AEW World Championship Series. We will see Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, take on Jon Moxley. Winner of that will become the interim AEW World Champion until CM Punk returns, and then we kind of settle things again there too. Some interesting stuff has played out as this past week on Dynamite, Hangman Page called out the then reigning IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the World Champion of New Japan, the much acclaimed, critically acclaimed, the stars dropping on him for all the ratings of his matches, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Now, here's the thing. He was the man in New Japan until this past weekend at Dominion, their big Dominion event. The Switchblade, the leader of the Bullet Club in Japan, is now the new IWGP heavyweight
Is that his
champion.
first?
This is Jay White's first.
I think that
world
would make him a
championship.
Grand Slam in New Japan because
Yes,
he's
he is
been
he is a
Intercontinental, US,
tag.
it never open, tag, and now world champion.
I
So
don't know if he
yes,
won the junior. I believe he probably won the junior, didn't he? You have to win the junior. Is that clear? Or do you?
For Grand Slam, I don't know.
Semantics. Now here's the thing. Switchblade cut a hell of a promo on the show. Calling everyone on AEW bitch, and you're all just bitches who thought you were gonna get Okada, but look what I did. And of course, being backed up by the Bullet Club. This creates a very different scenario here for AEW New Japan Forbidden Door coming up here on the 26th, doesn't it? Does this mean that a big name like Okada, who just dropped this title, is not on that card? Does this mean that we get Hangman Page versus Switchblade, who's already been appearing sporadically on All Elite Wrestling television here and there? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Plus, he's affiliated with Adam Cole, who probably, who knows if he's going to be able to compete by the time we get to the end of July. So it'll be interesting to see. And that opens up Okada. Is Okada coming? I mean, this would be kind of ridiculous if Okada's not on the card. Obviously, I don't want him to see him face Bryan Danielson, but I think we're really heading towards Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson based on some comments by Zach this past week. So I think we're probably heading down that road. So then it's like, who does Okada face? Do we get is Kenny Omega ready? Do we get the major feud?
Would that be 4 or would that be 5? That would be number 4, right? That would be number 4.
So will we get this major feud that's had multiple 6-star or 5-star matches? Will we get that feud for the first time in the United States?
We have no indication that Kenny Omega is coming back at all, though.
No, he's back on the road, but other
Maybe
than
they're
that,
keeping it under wraps. Maybe they're really keeping it under wraps.
They could be. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Explosive, bro. That would be absolutely insane if Kenny Omega is back in ring shape in time for Forbidden Door to face Okada.
Yeah,
I think that would attract a whole lot of more eyes.
Oh yeah,
to that
the fact that probably the majority of the AEW audience has not seen those matches in New Japan is a reason why to do it again. You're like, oh, they've done it 3 times already. Well, the majority of the AEW fan base has not seen that, so it does make sense that it is a big box office draw to have Okada and Omega. Man, this thing is just shaping up day by day to be just a tremendous card. Unfortunately, we've learned that 3 superstars are not going to be on the Forbidden Door card, with Andrade El Idolo, Penta, and Rey Fenix because of their CMLL affiliations that are preventing them to work with New Japan Pro Wrestling. That has come out to light. That came out to light over the weekend with Andrade and Conan kind of going back and forth. And then we learned later on this afternoon from Fightful that this also includes Phoenix and Penta just because of their affiliations.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, you have those. You have all those
right there.
Go ahead. I mean, you have all those international dealings, basically. Oh, I'm this in this territory. I'm that in that territory.
I find it petty. I find it super petty when an organization,
are those guys
that's not part of the United States, are prohibiting these guys from competing when they're under contract with AEW.
So Penta, Ray, and Andrade are AAA. And because CMLL's working relationship with New Japan, they can't do it, right?
Yes.
They're
Exactly.
associated with AAA.
Yes.
Okay.
They are.
And Lance
Not
asking what's
CMLL.
CMLL is a competing wrestling company, much like AAA in Mexico.
So Lance, for Lance, so CMLL is Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre. That's what it means.
So it'll be interesting. My thing is like you have some incredible.
Probably the second biggest promotion in Mexico, right?
Yes. Yeah, I would put AAA at the top. They have their AAA Mania, they have another Triple Mania show.
Yeah,
Hardys were supposed to be on that show this weekend. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, so that's another one.
Unfortunate.
So the issue though with this show coming up here with Forbidden Door on the 26th, there are some extreme expectations for this show. Like because of just and this is a show for the hardest of the hardcore because you have New Japan. It's a brand you got to seek out. It doesn't air on like Eastern, Northern. It doesn't air in European time. Doesn't air in North American time. You really have to seek that show out and be a hardcore fan. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I love New Japan. I had a great time doing stuff for them. I think they're a great promotion. The stuff they're trying to expand in the United States, this is a big part of that. The problem, though, is these dream matches are through the roof. It's Marvel versus DC. Who gets to go over? Who doesn't? How can you protect your brand coming out of this? Is this just an AEW show featuring some New Japan talent on it, and it's just going to be, it's this and that? There's some real expectations they have to meet with it. I think they can, and for the most part. But there's going to be a lot of halfsies on this. There's going to be a lot. All right, we give you this one, we get you that one.
I hope
this
so.
one.
Yeah, like that comment. This comment.
This is a legitimate
funny.
question.
Well, it's kind of funny too because every time New Japan would come to Ring of Honor, they would smoke Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor would never win a match when those two came out. It's gonna be a lot more 50-50. Like Jay White's gonna beat Hangman. Hangman ain't gonna win because it's gonna be for the title, and they're not gonna put the IWGP Heavyweight title on a guy that's not in New Japan. I don't think. I mean,
who knows?
They never know. I
they
would
want to
not
expand in the United States. You got you have a big United States star to hold your world title for a little while.
I wouldn't expect a title, especially after they just changed the title, especially with Jay White just winning it too. So
Justin Traveler saying, I'm worried that New Japan won't win a match. Well, we will see. 26. I'll be there, and we'll be covering that as well in extent. Live post shows, all that good stuff. Let's get into WWE's announced new class for the Next in Line program. This is all the collegiate athletes that they're trying to line up to turn into possible superstars in the future. A lot of these are not trained wrestlers. Some new names, from some big D1 schools. This is a part of the change laws in the past year with how college athletes can be compensated for their name and likeness. So tell me what's going on here.
15 athletes have been unveiled to be the latest class at the NIL Summit and at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. They range from 14 different universities, 7 different conferences within the NCAA, and 7 different sports, including cheer and dance. There's someone from cheer and dance from Ole Miss that is in this class. You also got football, track and field, wrestling, gymnastics, volleyball, football, and that basically rounds out everything there. There's not really a majority of a singular sport here. They have split it up pretty good. There's I think football is the most dominant with like 4 players there, but it is interesting. They're even going after they're going after cheer and dance too. So you're not just going after sports.
I'm actually not that surprised that they went after cheer and dance because when
they're
you
athletes.
think about it, they're athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They can get a certain set of moves and synchronicity and choreograph, and that's exactly what pro wrestling is. It's performance art toward the choreography, right, and storytelling. So
only 2 wrestlers out of the class of 15. 2 wrestlers, Colton Schultz out of Arizona State and Zachary Knighton out of Hofstra.
Be interesting. I mean, a lot of new talent, a lot of people from outside of the box, and it's worth noting. Everyone's saying, how come they're not recruiting wrestlers? How come they're not recruiting wrestlers? Let me name some of the people they recruited from the fitness modeling world that became Hall of Famers, like Trish Stratus, we were talking about earlier, was not a wrestler when they brought her into the company. Victoria was not a wrestler when she got brought into professional wrestling. You know what I mean? Kurt Angle had minor pro wrestling experience and came in as an Olympic gold medalist. So the idea that you can't find this talent from this pool of people, no, WWE's already proven for over 20 years that they can.
With all the shit news today, some good news today at least. Word is, I can't confirm it from him officially, but word is Big E got his neck brace off today.
That's great.
Yes,
that's great. Big E suffering.
Hell yeah.
What, about 4 or 5 months ago now?
February.
February. So, I mean, just a brutal injury, and you hope it doesn't affect the future of his life, let alone his career. And it's good to hear that stuff. Very, very good to hear that stuff. So, lot to going on here. Let's end with this story. That man on the left is the reigning United States champion, Theory. And a lot of people have compared him and his rise as kind of an inverse of what happened with John Cena, where John Cena in the early part of his career took on a new attitude and really ran with it and became a top mid-card star for WWE. Some people saying with the 20-year celebration of John Cena in WWE, and all the allusions to some type of clash between the two parties on social media, that we're going to get something here. And the biggest illusion, the biggest tease so far hasn't even been on WWE television. No, it's been on social media. John Cena's acknowledging it. And most recently, you have Mr. Theory doing something very, very clever here, as he's kind of making these videos referencing different things about John Cena, like word life and all the poses you can see here, doing all of the introductions, all the different gestures. A very slick video showing what he's doing.
Good editing.
Yeah.
It's worth noting John Cena is set to appear for WWE on the June 27th episode of Monday Night Raw.
Why couldn't it be next week? Damn it, Cena.
All right, Jeremy, you've taken a personal issue with you living in a certain state and another show being in another state.
Buzzkill Bennett's here.
Yeah.
Buzzkill Bennett.
Why couldn't you make your return next week when I'm in attendance? Damn it.
There you go. All right, so that's unfortunate.
I still got to buy my ticket yet.
This is personal. This sounds like a personal issue.
I'm going to try to do the Snoop Dogg thing and try to get a close seat for cheap, like day of. If not,
that's what I'm going to do when SmackDown's here in July. I'm going to wait until like that week.
They were like when I went to Snoop on 420, there were like first 7 row seats were like $800-900, and then Ticketmaster put a bunch out on row 7 for $120. I'm like,
there you go.
So I'm gonna try to get like a hopefully along the ramp or something. If not, I'll get a cheapo $20 seat. Otherwise, I will be live from the arena next Monday.
There you go. So we'll be checking it out. This is worth noting. Some people saying, not going to lie, Raw has been good. This is one of those angles that I think people are thinking are going to cash out. We still have Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is always one in terms of storylines people are excited about. There's some stuff on Raw that's actually been kind of better than SmackDown recently.
It's been better than SmackDown. It always flip flops. It can never both be good at the same time.
It's just hard though. It's 52 weeks. It's 52 weeks a year of content. Like, I love Dynamite, but there's some nights.
My God, how much time did they kill between the second to last match and the last match? I was watching it on DVR while I was working this morning.
It was like 4 commercial breaks.
Holy crap! Like the time they kill. I'm like, Sami Zayn came out at 30 tell, and they didn't start the match until like 17 minutes. They like killed 13 minutes between Sami Zayn coming out and man, it was ridiculous. This is a 2-hour show, by the way. You don't have a 3-hour show you could afford to kill time, but a 2-hour show, it's like, God, what are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just an advertising thing. Can we hold people between matches and stuff like that too?
No, but
quarter hours, baby. Quarter hours.
Super notorious for that though, because it's not just this last week. It's been several weeks ever since Roman has had this part-time schedule, and I don't want to put all the blame on Roman, right?
Oh,
but
go ahead.
Since we haven't had a champion per se, there really hasn't been nothing to tune into SmackDown about, right? I mean, who cares about Ronda Rousey?
I really enjoyed seeing the new Intercontinental Champion this past Friday.
I did too. And Gunther is going to be the guy carrying that show until Roman.
That was a good match. That was a
very good match. If you haven't seen it, seek it out. Him and Ricochet had a banger, and also wasn't a squash. Ricochet
I was afraid it was going to be
not a squash.
I was afraid.
It was well delivered.
Reeling it back here before we sign off here. Theory versus Cena. This is what he's teasing. Cena's talked about it when he was asked, who do you want to face in the roster? He said Cena. Who are you watching on the roster right now? Cena said Theory,
It's happening.
So they know when are they doing this? Is this a SummerSlam match?
Yeah, it's all but official.
Yeah. It's a matter of when. It's a matter of when you do this match, not
if. It's when, yes.
And I think this is a match you got to
SummerSlam, Summer of Cena, bro. Summer of Cena Part 2.
Yep.
We'll see. I mean, is he free? Is he capable of doing it? Is he within an insurance window where he can suffer ripping a muscle or, tearing a ligament and being able to do something like that? We'll see. I mean, is he allowed to get away with it too? Does he have the capacity for it? Or is this just going to be an angle? Is this something where we're just going to get an angle between them and not so much a match? I think fans would want a match here. Victor Nash, before we sign off with the super chat, very supportive. Has WWE made it official? Lashley versus Theory for the United States Championship match.
Have not.
That was teased as well They have not made it official, but that match is supposed to happen. Is that going to happen this week? Is it going to happen next week? Is it going to be on that 27th episode with John Cena? Is John Cena going to cost him the belt? Who knows? But they have not made the match official. It does seem like it's going to happen sometime soon. It does seem like it's going to happen sometime soon. So,
and guys, don't forget also, we are back live every Wednesday night immediately after AEW Dynamite with Getting Over on Twitch. It is official. It's Jeremy and myself every Wednesday night immediately after AEW Dynamite, where we talk the first 10-15 minutes about AEW, and then we get into the GM mode, right, Jeremy?
A debrief of Dynamite, so to speak.
A debrief of Dynamite.
We'll continue. We crossed our first pay-per-view last week. We had some good matches on our side. Uncle Dave with his star ratings was okay to us, but he's still getting paid. I think Shane is still filling his pockets with cash. So hopefully we can kind of get a grip on the fan base, kind of catch Raw a little bit as we just crossed WrestleMania Backlash. So we signed some legends. So we're going to incorporate some legends into the show leading up to the next pay-per-view. So it should be exciting to see if we can close the gap.
These two legends are pretty big names.
Yep.
There you go. Check it out. I just dropped the link for our Twitch as well in the chat. So if you guys want to check that out, that's every Wednesday. We're going to start doing some other stuff on there too. Maybe some watch alongs, some cool things. So keep an eye out.
Guaranteed, we're going to get some Retromania wrestling going on there sometime soon. We may even have a professional wrestler on the show down the line. So we stay tuned to that. I got to get some more details, but we may get, and I'm actually going to go talk with that said professional wrestler in a month or so. So because he'll be in town for the Nebraska Wrestling Hall of Fame, which our own esteemed Bill Apter got inducted to. Unfortunately, he will not be able to make the show there, but I will be there in his honor. And of course, a good buddy of mine is the said commissioner for MWA here locally. And so it'll be a lot of fun. And James Storm's going to be in town. So it's always great to hang out with the Cowboy.
You can check me out on the most recent edition of AAW on Fight TV, our show Crush and Destroy. I got to do a bunch of different stuff. Got to do an in-ring promo with the swag champ Ren Jones. That was pretty exciting. That is up right now. Also, just announced, this just got booked while I was at AAW. It was pretty sweet. I got added to shows this weekend in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm going to be at the Laughing Tap Comedy Club performing and doing the feature work there for Damon Millard. That'll be Friday and Saturday at the Laughing Tap in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sunday night, I'll be at the Lakefront Brewery. All three shows. I'll have the links up on my Twitter at Kev Kellum. You can check out clips of my comedy as well on my Instagram at Kev Kellum6. Jose G.
You guys, as always, give me a follow on my Instagram and on my TikTok. And on my YouTube, I have a brand new show I just launched, Wrestling with Mindset. You guys can check that out. It's all about motivational stuff, positive stuff, success stuff. So go ahead and check it out. Show me some support by go ahead and go over to the Instagram, Wrestling with Mindset. It's a passion project for me. I'm going to be putting a lot of content out, doing some live stuff. Go ahead and give me a follow, Jose G Official and Wrestling with Mindset.
There you go.
Follow me on Twitter, JB Huskers. No live tweeting a Raw for me tonight. It's Game 5, baby. Go Celtics. We got to get that series back in check. Celtics undefeated after losing a game, so hopefully they will take that 3-2 lead tonight. But I will. You follow me on the Twitter. I'll probably be popping in Raw while I do some work tomorrow. So I'll give some good thoughts there. Then of course, Jose and I get back, get on Twitch, subscribe for Sports Key to Wrestling, all one word, in the search bar, and give us a subscribe so we can get that built up and do some giveaways down the line.
Yeah, thanks a lot for supporting, guys. We love the diehards. We love the new people. If it's your new time, your first time, don't make it the last time. Subscribe to Sports Kid Wrestling wherever you're getting the show, any video form, any podcast form. And we hope you enjoyed it. Come on, you spent 40 minutes with us. I bet you had a good time. I know.
Love you guys. Love you.
And remember, despite all the debates, all the sad stories, the good stories, just take a deep breath. Hug your friends. Be good to each other. And remember, when you're watching wrestling, the most important thing you're supposed to do is what?
Enjoy wrestling, guys.
Yeah. Where was I on Friday?
Max?
2.
Watch out, watch out, watch out!